So, hello to everybody and anybody that's listening. My name's Ted Lawler, and today's podcast, we have a very, very special guest. He's a serial entrepreneur. Not only does he manage financial wings for the most elite organizations and individuals, he's also an influencer, a music artist, which I really want to find a little bit more about, a model, and a public speaker. So, without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Mohs
Morning,
Mayfair. Yes, how are
morning,
you?
morning, morning. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. Thank you very much. So, if you wouldn't mind, just tell me and the audience a little bit more about who you are as a person and sort of what you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, so I initially started off my main profession. You listed quite a few there. My
Yeah, there's loads.
main profession there is I'm a private investment manager.
Yeah,
It's the easiest way to kind of throw it all into one title. So we manage predominantly the financial assets, stock assets, property assets, and general wealth management. And we specialize within the elite socialites, major corporations, and the individuals within them.
yeah,
So I started about 6 years ago, about 5, 6 years ago now. And it was pretty much just starting off within university. It was a matter of I wanted to become a stockbroker or I wanted to become an actuary. And looking at the whole setup, I was not willing to finish my degree. I did a pure mathematics degree at Imperial, not looking to finish that degree and then work 5 to 10 years and still keep the title of a trainee or a
yeah, yeah,
student. It just didn't appeal to me. So I decided to up myself. Obviously completed that degree, but within the second or third year, I decided to pretty much learn everything of the trade myself. Was pretty much easy pickings with friends, students' fees and their tuitions. As soon as their tuition fees hit and they got their little student loans, I was just like, oh, so do you know what? Do you wanna buck me £500 to
yeah,
this?
yeah,
Which didn't go down too well. I spoke to Mother Dearest and I was like, Mother, can I grab the key to my trust fund? And she goes, oh, you can do one, mate. So
yeah. Don't blame her.
yeah, so it was a matter of, oh, Moss, you're doing so much, you try to do so much, but I don't want you just blowing everything simply on just another idea of yours, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you
and
have many ideas at that point, or was it like it was you focused on that? Like as soon as you started thinking of ideas, was that the very first and the one that you grabbed, or was you doing things before that in terms of business projects?
yeah, I mean, for me, it was always as a profession, that's what I want to do. I want to go into the financial trade. I want to, you know, have that title whereby it states investment in there somewhere, only
Yeah.
because I just enjoyed it. I see the financial game. I see it basically that as a game. Um, so
That's surprising because most people, like myself, for example,
mm,
finance is definitely not a game. I hate it. Like
mm,
I can't wrap my head around it, and it's not something I could ever enjoy. So I could
yeah,
never class it as a game or
fair
like
enough.
not. It's not even a task for me. It's like
Mm,
I just don't. Just can't wrap my head around it.
yeah.
So like, do people in your family were they involved in finance before, or did it how did you pick it up? Like, was
No,
it something you
so
picked up through school?
yeah, so my family run media channels. They run media channels in
Right.
predominantly within LA, California, and they did that for about 2 or 3 decades now. One of them became one of the biggest celebrity following channels. It was then franchised off in Dubai, by
Nice.
one of the royal governing families out there. So I lived between LA and London for the first 12 or 13 years of my life. That was pretty much, I remember I've got flashbacks of being 8, 9 years old, and there's a premiere coming up. And I'm just told by one of my mom's assistants, like, do not put your fingers in your mouth. Do not put your
Yeah.
keep your
Yeah.
hands to your side. So it was a very media creative environment in which I grew up in. I was homeschooled in LA. And then when we moved to Dubai, I got through like a really ugly phase.
Oh no.
So
Yeah.
it was pretty much move my child from the camera. That kid is not my child.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, it was a matter of having moved to Dubai after being homeschooled in LA. I was just kind of left with my own resources to, do as I pleased, so to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, So then my mother said, right, okay, if you're going to start looking into books and you're going to start, like, I was great at mathematics. I didn't even realize I just knew things off the top of my head, and not like mental arithmetic. I mean, I'd sit down, I'd open a book and I'd be like, okay, cool, boom, I've got it.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. So, that then translated in my mother saying, right, if you're going to study, you're going to study back in London, because that is where, that's where the Qatari royal family studied. That's where the Saudi royal family studies. That's they all go to Harrow. They go boarding there. They go military there.
Yeah,
So for
it
me,
sort of is the place to go, isn't it? No matter
yeah,
whereabouts in the world you come from, London and England in total is like sort of the target of where people want to be heading to
hundred
study,
percent,
to work.
100%. So then my mother said, right, that's what we're doing then. We shipped back into London and I went straight in because I'd already done like UCAT tests in LA. I kind of had like a slip between the education system,
Yeah,
and I was able to start my degree here. So yeah, and that's how I pretty much, so it's very different from what I wanted to do. My main focus, I had two main focuses. Number one, making more than my mother did, and I
yeah,
still have,
yeah,
still haven't. And my second one was ensuring that I didn't become a trust fund kid, so to say.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I was going to go into, like a bit about what drives you, what is your motivations? Because on your website, officialmoss.com,
Mm.
you mention something along the lines that everyone is like a car, like we all have the ability to drive, but you just
Yeah,
need someone to push that button to get you started and get you sort of on the road and heading to where you want to go. So
yeah,
what is it that drives you as a person?
yeah, 100%. I mean, I stick by that. That analogy came when I was going to buy my 458, my Ferrari 458 for the first time, and I was
Nice.
like, oh, the guy said, so what exactly do you do? And I said, you can make money in any industry. There isn't a lack of money anywhere. There's enough to go around for everyone.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, my main, like I said, my main drive was as simple as saying, right, this is what my mother did. And as much as my mother said to me, look, Moss, I did this for you, and I did this for your brothers. I made what I made for you not to have to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
According to me, I translated that in that's yours.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that was written for you. That's in your name, regardless of what your motivation actually was, i.e. myself, and now then afterwards my younger brothers. That was her motivation, but truly in its entirety, that is hers. And I'm not going to be one to, waste the oxygen that I breathe on this earth. And, you know, shout out some of my friends who do the same,
Yeah.
not putting them down, but,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, I
Well,
didn't want to waste the time or the energy that I had simply off of effectively doing nothing. Do you see
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like no matter, because you're obviously from a rich family that's successful more than
Mm.
anything, most importantly. But I feel like for anybody in a similar position to us who are going out off their own back, no matter what's been given to them or what hasn't been given to them,
Yeah.
the fact that they're getting off their backside sort of thing, and they're getting
Mhm.
out there and they're doing things like you are and like
Mm.
I am, it shows something, I think, about our character.
100%. 100%. And I say this, like even from the McDonald's workers to everything else, as cliche as it is, the point is they're getting up off their ass and they're working.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter
literally.
how much they're working for, or how many hours, or where they're working. The point is they are, and that needs to be appreciated more.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like you're solely financial driven. As you mentioned there, you're sort of doing it to show that you can do things off your own back, like
Mm.
you're self-made in that sense.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like a lot of people sort of it's typically, I feel like what I've seen is the people that don't have a lot of money that are driving for that money. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I've talked about it in some of my previous podcasts slightly, but I feel like I don't know how you feel about this, but perhaps people should be focusing on success rather
Yeah.
than just the financial gain, because it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter how much money you're getting, really. It's more about what you're doing to get there, like to succeed and like sort of
100%.
have your own benchmarks. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's your take on that? How do you think people
Yeah. I mean,
our
I
age
mean,
should be acting?
yeah. I mean, personally, it's very hard. I always give the example of, there's two types of doctors, and you got Dr. A and you got Dr. B, and I'll ask you. So Dr. A is solely becoming a doctor because of the first year wage packet.
Yeah.
And then you got Dr. B, and Dr. B is becoming a doctor because he wants to help people, full stop. Which person reaches their goal first?
Yes. Yes.
Right?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. So according to me, Dr. A will never reach his goal because he's always financially driven, as you said. He will
Yeah.
never reach that goal. He will, as soon as his first year is done, then his second year is done, and his third year is done, he'll carry on for the next 20, 30 years looking for the next, what the next raise. Then you got Dr. B. As soon as he graduates, as soon as he completes his exams and his doctorate, he's completed. His life purpose is complete. He can now go into any A&E or become a GP, and he has completed what his life goal is. According to me, I really think that it depends on the industry.
Yeah.
For example, if you are solely after financial gain, then you need to be in such a headspace whereby you really don't give two hoots what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Right?
true.
In
Yeah.
true
That's
essence of
true.
it.
Yeah.
And to be quite frank, 95% of the people aren't built like that, because we're only human, and we get to a point whereby either we feel bored, or we get tired of something, or we just don't have enough energy in us to be able to be doing 12, 13, 14 hour shifts in the same job for 4 days a week,
Yeah.
for example. So it really does vary. I think it is circumstantial on who the actual person is. I mean, for me, as much as financial gain wasn't even 50% of the reason why I was doing it, that's not saying that I took what I had already for granted. But, I still push out 6 years in, I'm still pushing out 22, 23 hours in a day.
Oh
And now,
wow.
yeah, and the main focus for me is because I know that money comes and goes, time comes and goes, but my name and what I've chosen to make, I can't afford to put that responsibility on my employees,
Yeah. I get
because
that. Yeah.
you only know how much you can do for yourself. And I know at the end of the day, regardless of how tired I am, last week I slept, I think, 8 hours within about 4 days.
Oh wow.
And but again, that's a choice, because equally I've got 40 people that I'm paying out. I've got over 150 grand worth of wages that I'm paying out every month, and I've got people to do it for me. But am I willing to pass on the responsibility of the progress and the name that I've made for myself? No. So
Well, that's the thing. Again, going back to sort of like young entrepreneurs, etc. I feel like it's sort of not necessarily a selfish thing, but you do want to sort of you take responsibility of what you've created and
yeah.
what you're going with. You sort of don't want to let anybody else sort of have the stresses that you go through. You'd
Mm-hmm.
rather take them on board yourself, but also you
Yeah.
don't want someone to change the vision or your vision.
Yeah.
Um, so
Exactly.
so what is your sort of what's your vision in
So
total for
yeah.
your businesses and everything you're doing? What's the end goal?
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, I started off as a private investment manager,
Yeah.
and one of my first clients was one of the family members of the CFO from Merrill Lynch Bank. And then from there, it pretty much completely blew up. We've got billions of dollars worth of client net worth now under my wing, and we've got over 400 odd clients, and they range from being members of the financial directors of the Conservative Party, all the way up to Merrill Lynch Bank, Bank of America, Barclays, and now my new secondment under Qatar Investment Authority,
Oh,
QIA.
that's insane.
Yeah, so they are they are actually, I think, the biggest investment fund in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
They bought Harrods from Al Fayed and the Queen in 2010 for 1.5 billion. They funded and bought the Shard. They bought the Olympic Village.
Oh wow.
They
So
became
they're making big deals, big
yeah,
money.
yeah, and they became one of the biggest investors within Barclays. They now hold one of the biggest shareholders there, Sainsbury's as well. So they completely popped off, especially within the UK. So for me, I started off there, like you mentioned, you asked earlier. So was it a matter of you just wanting to do finance, or was that it? Or what do my family do? The reason as to why I've kind of branched out now into the vision that's coming to fruition now, which is pretty much, yes, I wanted to do finance. Yes, I was good at it. Yes, I did freaking well in it. But there was so much more to give, hence why I've kind of divided into so many other industries. For example, now we dabbled in music solely when I came back into UK, solely to be able to leverage the fact that I have an understanding of the actual music world, because it's very hard getting into meetings or sitting down with artists who are very, according to me, they have like blinders on. When the horses are running in Grand National, they've got their blinders on. They're not looking where they're going. It's just very tunnel vision, and they don't want to share, so to say. So to be able to be like, okay, great, Moss, like you're this person, you've got all this money and whatever else, and you've got these connects, but what do you know about music? So for me, it was a matter of, okay, boom, there we go, we've got that. Okay, with fashion, okay, I've worked with this brand. We've worked with Phoebe English, who just did London Fashion Week. We've worked with Lulu Hayes, and we've got her brand registered with Pippa Middleton, and we've done all of that. And that was just a leverage to be able to say, right, now my next vision is getting into as many industries as possible and being in the position where I'm in, which is, as an investment manager, I've got a lot of leverage to be able to say I can dip in and out of every single industry: music, art, the creatives, production, fashion, sports, and be able to say I've got the backing and the little black book to be able to go into them.
So it's not just for you, it's not just about reaching out in all areas to build your personal brand, but it's also to help, like you said, leverage your businesses as well. Is personal branding an important sort of subject for you? Is it something you're actively trying to build by doing like the podcast and by getting out into all the industries? Is that something you're trying to build? How important is that to you?
Yeah, it's very important, especially for what I want to do within the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, on the website, we've got £100,000 investment fund, and that obviously isn't for the kids that are going to Regent's Park University and dropping into their lectures in a Ferrari. That is for the startups or the SMEs on the medium size, or those growing actively, to be able to support them. Because within the education system, especially within the UK, I've seen that we always just have those posters. I say we, but not me. But you have the posters up of the pencils, and in the middle there's a blunt pencil, and on the side there are two sharp pencils on either side of them. And the caption states, "Be around the people that you want to be with." And now that's all great in essence. In theory, that's fantastic. But truly, when people are aspiring to be what they classify as the 1%, but the 1% really don't want to be with the rest.
It is just a completely different level. It's not just being rich, it's being exclusive, being that premium. It's a whole complete different level.
Exactly. But when people are aspiring to be that, and we're thrown into the deep end and told, be around the people that you want to be with 150 times over, how are you meant to do that when there's that opportunity just solely not given? So for me, what I really want to do is be able to flip the books and go from the 1% and bring that back down to the 99. Now, I really don't consider myself as the 1%. I really would not even consider myself as a 10%, even though I pretty much probably make that bracket. So for me, it's about being able to say, okay, cool, you've got this designer brand, or you're an upcoming brand. I can get you featured on GQ UAE as long as X, Y, and Z. Or for example, you've got this coming up, and all right, cool, why don't you have a meeting? Or for my photographers or for my media companies that I run, I've got an influencer basis of, I think we have over 1,200 influencers. I think we're like a total following of just over like 150, 200 million.
Wow, that is a lot.
So big. To be able to say, okay, yeah, cool, I've got X, Y, and Z, and I can connect you with Boohoo, I can connect you with Misguided, or I can connect you with. So I'm effectively taking those people, the 10, 15,000, throwing them to a database of 100, 200 million, and getting them that connect. Simply because I've done what I've had to do, and now it is pretty much about giving back. But my problem is my self-branding, my personal branding. It's very hard to come from, this is you at the top, and how can you then relate, like I said, with the music? How can you relate with us? And it's that bridge that I'm trying to build and erect up.
That makes sense. So if someone wants to get involved with like the Mayfair investment,
Mm.
Like how can they get involved? How can they get your help?
Yeah, so effectively I run intermittent events throughout the year. We had my first UK event, I think last summer now, and then we've got another one coming up this summer. So that is both an opportunity to learn one-to-one with myself. So depending on what industry you're with, people fill out a select form before attending. So then I get a better idea as to what they need instead of wasting time with them.
Yeah,
And then they also have like an investment pitch during the mid. So instead of having like a networking event right in the middle, we have an investment pitch. So you effectively have the opportunity for 2.5 minutes to be able to pitch your idea, your business, or even just yourself as a brand, if that's what it is, and get yourself out there. Be able to present exactly where you want to go and what you want to do, effectively what you need. So there's that. Equally, then you can just contact me directly through my email, and I've now got a private number which is solely accessible for mentoring purposes.
yeah, perfect.
And I encourage everyone to use that number as almost a notepad, because I'm up 24 hours in the day. So if you were to pop up and you said to me, Master, right, I want to do, how can I span out the podcast to, let's say, Singapore, solely just Singapore, right?
Yeah,
Because your ex is living in Singapore, and
yeah,
you want to reach out to her. So
yeah,
um, and if you had the idea at 2:30 in the morning, all I say is, okay, cool, just drop it to me, because the point is I've seen it, it's popped up, and when I can, if I can, then I just definitely reply back to you, and just use it as very much as a notepad basis. Even if you don't want a reply from me, but you just want to share your idea, then just drop it to me. You see what I mean?
yeah. That makes sense. And so you've sort of answered it there. I was going to ask what's like so unique about yourself and this team that you build in to like help
Mm-hmm.
other people. You sort of answered it there. You're pretty much accessible all hours of the day.
Yeah,
You're always working. You're always willing to help,
yeah,
and you're actively trying to bridge the gap, like you said, between the top 1% and
mm-hmm.
the other 99%. So
Yeah,
it sounds like the perfect place for people looking for to improve and develop themselves. It sounds like
100%.
you're the perfect place to go to, which is great.
Mm.
And you also mentioned there your 20 odd hour days. So what
Yeah,
on an average day to day, what does your day look like from when you wake up to go to
yeah,
bed? What sort of things are you up to?
yeah. So if I wake up and if I go to bed,
Yeah,
then really what I expect is I've got my amazing PA
yeah,
who, she does above and beyond what's necessary. She deals head on with a lot of things. So for me, I say to her, right, tell me at 5 in the morning, dead on at 5, every single day, what needs to be done just for that day. Do not tell me what I've got to do next week. Do not tell me what I've got to do tomorrow, because as soon as I start thinking about tomorrow and the week after, my head will just explode. So
yeah. I'm the same. Yeah, don't blame me
yes,
there.
you just tell me what I need to do for the day, and that's it. And then it's a lot of chopping and changing. I'll be honest with you. If I've got clients in on a normal day-to-day basis 2 years ago, it was a matter of, right, I'm going to sit down with this client. We're going to discuss what their current portfolio is. I'll be sat with them for 2 hours. I'll then have about 3 hours free, sat wherever I'm sat for lunch. And then my next client will come. And then predominantly the majority of my clients will be available within the evening. So some days I'd have to be in Knightsbridge Mamunia Lounge from 9 p.m. to about 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, the drinks bill will come to about God knows what, but the point is we've managed to sit down and rearrange and start looking at the next step for her property portfolio, for example.
Yeah,
Now it's very difficult to be able to, I, I don't want to say stick to meetings because that
yeah,
sounds, but I just mean it's very difficult to be able to prioritize what's necessary on the day. Um, like I've got an event for one of our company launches tonight, and at the same time I need to sort out one of the briefings for a team of mine that's working on Channel 4 for Rich Kids Go Skin.
nice.
And luckily I'm not on there. So
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
so I'm having to sort that out this morning. I got back at about 3 in the morning, and I had a conference call in Dubai that started at 4 in the morning, and then I had to cut that short, start with the briefing for Channel 4, so while still trying to stay on the phone with someone for the event tonight.
Ouch.
And then I've got 2 client appointments. My clients, when I say client, not the kids that I'm mentoring, but so much, I mean like my major investment clients, my property clients, my financial clients, which I still try to keep tabs on. We've got 400 odd of them. So I just try to stick with the top cream, with the top 70, 80 of them, which are making monkeys and billions. So I stick with them. Everyone else now manages with everyone else. So yeah, it can be hard, it can be really chopping and changing.
It sounds so like I wouldn't say long-winded, but it sounds like it's jam-packed your day to day. So how do you sort of like relax? What do you do like as a hobby, as a passion? What sort of things are you interested in? Because it doesn't sound like you have much time for anything.
Yeah, it's in that respect, you're right. It's really hard. And I remember when I first started, within the first 3 years, everyone was like, "Okay, cool. So you set for a holiday now. You're making money. You set for a holiday now."
Yeah.
And my problem is, regardless of where I am, I just end up meeting someone or end up speaking to someone. I'm very outspoken, so I'll be sat in Emirates Lounge and just be like, "Oh, by the way, so where did you grab that from?" And then all of a sudden it's a matter of, "Oh yeah, I can manage your finances."
Oh wow. Yeah.
So holidays very quickly turn into business trips.
Yeah.
And for me, I've got certain hobbies that I've carried on and passed down from when I was about 7, 8 years old. So like horse riding. I now, I've tried to, especially within the last year, get back into riding properly.
Yeah.
Gym, I managed to squeeze in. It's always handy now with the AirPods. Slap the AirPods in, and I'm slapped in a meeting.
Oh,
They can hear me
they
through
are the
sets.
best. Yeah. The AirPods literally have saved my life. If anyone listening hasn't got a pair of AirPods, go out, get some. They are lifesavers. You can literally be doing anything you want and talking to whoever you want at any time. They are the best.
100%, and they can hear me through my sets. I'm just like, "Oh
Yeah.
I'll sort that out." So that I maintain my gym. I maintain my horseback. What else do I do? Now and again, I'll pop into a car showroom. And to be fair, hobbies wise, don't have many. It's a matter of I really, really take every moment, especially when driving. I love it. That's like I don't know if you can call it a passion, but I love when I'm sat in the car and I start the engine and everything just goes when my balls vibrate. I'm like, "Oh yeah."
See, I don't enjoy driving, but do you know why? It's because I've got a Ford KA. It is the worst. I would rather walk everywhere. If I had a Ferrari or if I had a sports car, I'd be driving every single place. But in a Ford KA, I'm staying at home or I'm walking there. I'm not getting in the car.
I mean, to be honest, it's very economic. I mean,
It is.
To be fair, sometimes I wouldn't mind that because I just got the new Range SVR.
Nice.
Which is great. It pops and crackles, and then I decided to put a new exhaust on it. So I put a custom exhaust on it aftermarket.
Oh,
and
wow.
Now it's absolute fireworks.
Yeah, I can imagine. They're so big though. They are huge cars.
Yeah, they are. And I made a very big mistake. I didn't buy the SVR with like flappy paddles, which really wrecked me. So I managed to get those. That's in the garage at the moment, getting redone in Park Lane. But yeah, I enjoy that. I enjoy being able to pop to the garage and
it is a passion. Many people sort of go to like car shows just to sort of have a look. Like, but so go on. What other cars have you got or had? Go on, tell us.
So
just tell us. Just make it worse for me.
So I had a G63, G63 wagon AMG. That was my baby. That was the second car I ever bought.
Amazing. Yeah.
I've totaled that now.
Oh no.
That got written off in Hyde Park. That was ridiculous.
Oh, what happened to it?
So basically, I was driving down for legal purposes. We'll say that I was driving the correct speed.
Yeah. And you flipped it. Please tell me you flipped it.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
So you've got like a massive long road between Marble Arch in London all the way down to like Green Park, Hyde Park. There's one straight road which passes the Dorchester, passes Park Lane, everything.
Yeah, it's a big road.
And so they had recently changed the they'd just taken off the speed cameras on this side of the road. So I was driving down at a reasonable speed, and,
Oh no.
and then there's like a small road, Curzon Street, and you can't see it when you pull out.
Yeah.
So a 7 Series chauffeur basically pulled out, and I couldn't move. I had buses on one side, and I had buses on the other side, and I had cars driving. So I just thought, oh, okay, cool. Close my eyes, slap straight into him.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I'd
Oh,
taken off.
ouch.
The wagons come with like the massive silver grille at the front.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd taken that off, and I completely flipped
Oh
the
no.
car.
What a big
So
mistake.
yeah, that completely flipped. He spun around twice, I think, and I
Ouch.
just completely revved right and went into the side barriers in the middle of the road. So
Oh
yeah,
no.
that car got written off.
Yeah, I can
Bless that.
imagine. Yeah.
And then I bought another wagon like 6 months after that, but then that got broken into in Westfields.
Oh no, I hate that.
Yeah, so I had it in chrome red, like really shiny chrome red. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Yeah, it stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had it in that. That was a great summer car. Before that, I had the first car I ever bought was the 2012 edition SLS AMG.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so the original Batwing doors and everything. That was my baby. I bought that aftermarket for I think 70 or 80 grand in my last year of
Oh,
uni.
I bet you look like a James Bond driving that. Such
Mate,
a
I
slick car.
loved it. Loved
Yeah,
it.
it's so nice.
It was in that midnight navy blue.
Oh God.
Yeah, so it was that, and then I had a really good friend of mine that was studying his third degree in London. So
Oh,
he was he was
three.
he was originally from Lebanon, but in order
Yeah.
to try to tell his parents that he can stay within London, he was just literally just studying for about 10 years odd.
Oh,
So, so
he's dedicated. Yeah.
yeah, fully. So then I was really good friends with him. His father owns one of the oil docks in Lebanon, and so we had matching SLSs. Yeah, that was fun. Had the G
Nice. I bet that
wagons.
looked good.
Yeah,
Yes.
had the G
Nice.
wagons. Got a 458 in summer 2015, 2016. And then had that matching military green. You can see on the Sun newspaper and everything. We had matching military green G wagon, military green Ferrari, military green
Oh,
Bentley, and we parked it outside Harrods.
nice. I can
Yeah,
imagine
so
there were so many photos being taken of that.
literally we were all over the Sun, and then I imported a 6x6 G wagon,
Oh wow.
the six-wheeler, that massive monster truck of a
Yeah.
car. That was 2016, 2017 summer, and then I bought a C63S, Mercedes
Yeah.
C63S, and that's a beast. That's what I've got at the moment. I just recently bought a range, but yeah, I've got into customing my cars properly.
Yeah.
So I've got
They,
the
the Mercedes, the C63S, they're quite subtle compared to like the likes of your other cars.
yeah,
They're still very nice and they're eye
yeah,
catching, but they're slightly more subtle than the other cars you mentioned.
100%. I mean, especially with like the new Mercedes models, they all look very similar,
Yeah.
very similar. So the C63S, you trust me though, you can hear it from a mile off. It
Yeah.
absolutely roars. So then I've got that all custom built. I changed all of the fuel transmission. I changed the gears. I changed the exhaust pipe. So it's one of one. It's a 3 second Mercedes. 0 to 60 in about 3.2 seconds.
Oh wow,
Which
that's fast. Yeah.
yeah, which is as quick as a Lambo. So it's a one of one custom Mercedes. You hear it roar from far out.
Yeah, so you were saying that you're not sure whether cars is your passion. It is 110% that is your passion. Would you are you
Nice.
considering getting a Tesla? Does that excite you at all? Because I've
Um,
seen so many people looking at them, and they are the future.
yeah,
Are you considering it or?
I mean, they are. I mean, Elon anyway, he's doing a fantastic job,
Yeah, he's
with
crazy.
Tesla, and the guy's nuts, and his come up was fantastic. He was about that money, so to say, and
Yeah,
what he's done is, life changing, especially when he sold half of his designs. Well, he didn't even sell them; he gave them for free to the majority of car manufacturers, just so he can put this model for a cleaner future.
yeah. He's definitely someone who, like we mentioned earlier about vision.
Mm,
He has his vision and he is
yeah.
sticking to it. He's not letting anybody else like doubt him. And even if they do, he's not letting it change his
Yeah,
vision or the way he's working towards that vision. He is sticking to it. So you have to rate him for that. He's
100%. I
special.
mean, 100%. And his cars as well. His cars and now the transport links that he has in design now, he does fantastically well. For me, if I was to get a Tesla, those big ass Teslas, the massive white ones,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the 7-seaters. For me,
yeah,
they look very like soccer mummish.
yeah,
They look very soccer mummish.
yeah,
I didn't even understand like the whole 7-seater with like batwing doors. That surprised the heck out of me.
yeah. That's what I
Um,
mean. He is pushing the boundaries though of
yeah,
of the conventional design of a car. He is pushing it.
yeah. So for me, I mean, I'm waiting for the Roadster to come out, waiting for that Tesla Roadster to come out that will battle like the Bugatti, and that would be, I think, the only Tesla that I'd look at.
Yeah, it is. It looks like the supercar. That the
100%.
Tesla Roadster, like it is the epitome of a supercar. There's nothing else that sort of compares. That is, if you're talking about future supercars,
Yeah.
that is the one.
I mean,
100%.
it's considered a hypercar now. It's considered a hypercar.
A hypercar, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So like the Ferraris and the one-of-one
Yeah,
pistons. So yeah, so it's one of the future hypercars that they're stating. So
nice. Right. So going back just a few minutes, you
mm.
was talking about LA. So what's going on in LA? Are you over there quite a lot? You said your family's over there. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so like I said, I grew up between LA and London. So LA is very much, it's close to home for me, if not home for me. Um, we still have our offices out there. I've recently taken over mother's offices, her media offices out there. So
Yeah.
I liaise a lot with our production teams and our film companies and everything that's based in LA. It's a great link for me, especially with like the influencers and the media agencies that I run here in London. It's a great opportunity to be able to, dip in and out. LA is not a place for me at the moment. I mean, like permanently, because it's I only envision LA as a place to live, not necessarily to work.
Yeah,
So
that's understandable. It's
yeah,
sort of
so
like the getaway rather than like the
100%.
workplace. Yeah.
100%. So it's the same with Dubai as well. Like Dubai for me, I lived out there for about 5 years, but it's solely there for me to live, not necessarily to work. So I'm back and forth a lot. I'm back and forth a lot because obviously I've got loads of friends there. I'm looking to actually open my own property office in LA as well, and in New York as well. So I am back and forth a lot, especially within the last. I tried to get there. I tried to get back about 6-7 times a year. So
That's quite a lot. It's good though. At least you're sort of like you said before, you're breaking away from your work and sort of
yeah,
expanding out and sort of having that time off for yourself.
yeah.
Some may say it is lit. Talking of lit, you've got a song, Litty.
Mm, mm.
I tried to force that little segue, but
No, that was really good. That was a really good sequence.
So talking about music then. So have you got more music coming up, or was it like you said, just sort of to prove to other people that you could get into that industry?
Yeah, I mean that with Litty, the first time I think we were in, where were we? We were in Oman, I think. There were about 12, 13 of our friends, and we literally did like not even a 2-day getaway. It was like what, 8 hours, I think.
Oh
And we
wow.
said between meetings, let's just drive down to Oman for 4 hours and hit the sand, jump in the dunes and everything. So we were pretty much, I don't know, pissing about, can I say? We were
Yeah,
taking the
yeah,
mick a bit. And we, I think Drake had just released his song One Dance. Like, I need a one dance.
yeah, yeah.
So we were taking the piss. We were in Dubai. We were in Oman, rather. And we were like, oh, I need a one wife, not like my cousin,
Yeah.
5. And we started taking the mick. And they were like, oh, Moss, like, you should really just release that. I said, you guys, yeah, that's not happening. That is not happening. And then I'd already in the back of my mind over the last 6 months at the time decided that my next venture was try to liaise between what my mother had made and what I'm doing. And that was, link that media, like I'm linking now personal branding to the 99% now. That's
Yeah,
what I envisioned for just the media side of things. Plus, it was, Ted, it was a getaway for me as well.
yeah, exactly.
I wasn't
Yeah,
having to then deal with these big ass clients on a day-to-day basis, it was kind of a time for me to, if I was sat in the studio or if I was sat with an artist, I don't need to be 100% on the ball, so to say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And there's not a lot more at stake, you know. I don't have millions at stake. I've just got the price of however much the tea is. So
Yeah. And like you said, it proves that you're self-made. You're doing your own thing.
yeah.
And that song there got a good ratio of likes as well. Like it did quite well, didn't it? Over
Yeah, I mean,
8,000 views.
yeah, it was very American. Yeah, it was a very American type of song, so to say. You know, the way the whole genres are based
Yeah,
out there in LA.
yeah.
And the word litty was literally just introduced to me, I think, a week before that. And there was a girl I was speaking to, and everything according to her, she's in the video, everything according to her was just litty. Oh my God, that's like so litty.
Yeah,
That's so litty. That's so
yeah,
litty. And it kind of became a thing, like, yo, in the group chat, yo, should we get lit or should we get litty?
yeah. So
And
it's sort of essentially like a private joke, a bit
yeah,
satirical, but like on the play on words of what you was
yes,
hearing all the time. Yeah, I
yeah,
get that.
exactly. And then I found it a great opportunity to be able to kind of go into a meeting. We went into BBC. I went to meet an artist that I can't name at the moment, and we went to meet him. And he goes, "Oh, so what's your involvement in the music industry?" And I genuinely had no answer for him. I just didn't. He
Yeah.
goes, "That's great. That's your family portfolio, and that's what you guys have done. But what have you done?" And I was like, "Shit, damn, damn."
Yeah,
Um,
it's sort of the crunching point. Like, oh no, I should have had something here.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
then, and that's when within the week we literally just went studio, went there. That actually was filmed in the launch for one of the clothing companies that I was launching with like another prospective client of mine.
yeah, clever. That's
So
yeah, it's good.
that was a pop-up. That was the actual brand that we got featured on Saga Boy in Japan and GQ UAE. So
Nice.
yeah, so that's so then it tied in. So then I was able to just be like, okay, yeah, I know the process. This is what the process is, and this is what the proof of it is. It wasn't a matter of, right, Moss, you're going to become a music artist and let's pop it off. Because if I really wanted to, I could have been paying billboards in flipping Leicester Square for
Yeah,
about
of course. Yeah,
10 grand a day to
yeah,
be able to say,
yeah,
look at my shit.
yeah. So it's more of a project, like for your personal brand, and to prove you
Yeah,
can do certain things. Yeah, I
exactly.
get that. Yeah, I get that completely. And then, still staying on the topic of music, typed in official Moz onto YouTube, and of course, Litty come up first. And then there was
Yeah.
also a black box.
Yes.
Um, did I looked at the likes initially because I noticed with Litty it was a good like
Yeah.
ratio, and I looked at the black box and I was like, no, it's got
It's
like
got a lot of dislikes.
it's got a lot of
Yeah.
dislikes. So the point I'm getting at is forgetting like the music side of things, like
Mm.
but in total, like do you get a lot of hate or not so much hate, but just haters, just
Yeah.
being negative rather than like personally hating you? Like, do you get a lot
Yeah.
of negativity surrounding anything and everything that you do?
Yeah. I mean, with, like I said, like the Litty thing was very, we'll go just quickly with the music. Litty thing was very American based. Like you
Yeah,
can tell it's very American music. Then this, I mean, Black Box and that's very grimish.
yeah.
Um,
It's
and
a completely different audience,
completely
isn't it?
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I get
And
that.
you know, the hate specifically for that was, you know, people were saying to me, mate, like we're using music, especially within the UK, as a come up. We're
Yeah,
trying to get out of what we've come from. You've done that. Why don't you just do one? Don't now try to come and sit on our what we're
yeah,
trying to do.
yeah. But in the
Um,
UK as a whole, there's a lot of that. People don't really like to see people who are doing well.
yeah,
They like to see the come up, like you mentioned.
yeah,
But once you've made it, they're like, okay,
that's
you've
it.
made it. See you later. Like
And then
it's the same with
it,
everyone.
yeah, it's a, oh, you've changed. Like, all right, mate. Like,
Yeah,
so I get a lot of haters, but I always say that, you know, if you don't have any haters, then you're not doing something right.
yeah, that is true.
Because you can't afford to, when we go into like when I'm dealing with specific clients, and I said at the end of the day, you can't afford to be sat on the opinion of everyone else. You can't afford to be allowing for them to directly affect you. People
Yeah,
will say things because you can't please everyone. You cannot. It is practically impossible to be able to sit down and say, you know, I'm going to please this sector, this sector, this sector, this industry, this group of people, and that. Because if we do that, we're never going to get anything done if we're too busy trying to live by the standards of everyone else.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you sort of you've wrapped up loads of different tips and pieces of advice for young people.
Yeah.
Is there anything specifically, you can reiterate what you've already said, but is there anything like that one piece of advice that you'd like young entrepreneurs specifically to sort of know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's learn how to cut the bullshit. Honestly, and excuse my language, but that's exactly what it is. You need to be able to decipher between what's being said and what's actually being done. It's all great having 1,000 ideas and not being able to complete every single one of them is what's going to really kick you in the ass. And that is what I mean by bullshit, because we can get so lost in the excitement, we can get so lost in the wins equally as much as we do as the losses. And if we don't learn how to just truly realign, refocus, sit down and just breathe, then what people like to say, we get lost in the sauce, so to say. We get too caught up in it, and we get too caught up in the minute things. We get too caught up in trying to ride a wave, for example. Especially now, I work very closely with Virgin. I work very closely with Universal Music, with a lot of artists, where I'm, connecting them between, even if it's a matter of even if it's just their marketing, so to say. Equally with the fashion, you need to be able to stop trying to ride a wave, stop trying to look elsewhere, be that horse with blinkers, be that horse with blinders on, because as soon as a horse looks left or right, they completely fall.
Yeah, I need to take that advice as well because I do it a lot. I have one idea, and then I'll be halfway to completing it. Then
Yeah.
I see someone else doing something, and
Yeah.
they make it look successful. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I best leave what I'm doing and go on to something else. So
Exactly.
that's definitely something I need to take in as well. Um,
100%.
and then sort of my last point to wrap this up, and then you can add anything else, if anything, afterwards. But I'd like to sort of find out what we talked about your vision as well as what you're doing now.
Yeah.
But if everything was to end tomorrow, what would you want your legacy to be? What would you want to be remembered by as a person as well as a entrepreneur?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. I mean, for me, I look at the impact not as a whole, but more the impact that I've had on individual people. My life is very, very private. A private life is a happy life.
Yeah, definitely.
So I know that the impact that I have, between you and, well, not between you and I and the audience
Yeah, and the audience. Yeah, there are people. There's a couple people listening at least. Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's, for me, everyone considers me, bar the haters, everyone considers me as, a friend, or not even an acquaintance. But for me personally, everyone knows my name, or those that know me know my name, and I
yeah,
give everyone their due respect. So I base my, not contentment, but I base that legacy, so to say, on the impact that I've had on every individual life, every individual person's life, because I know at my age, or what I've done so far to impact the majority hasn't been enough. It hasn't. Because that hasn't been my main vision up until now. So effectively, it's I die happy, or if everything ended tomorrow, I'd be happy looking at the impact of every single person I've spoken to, even yourself, and even the people listening, and the impact knowing that I've been able to kind of settle a seed, or plant a seed, or help grow another seed within them. That for me is enough.
yeah. You've definitely, without a doubt, 100%. You've definitely gained a new fan in me. I'm definitely going to be
Bless you.
keeping track of what you're doing. I can tell what you're saying is honest. You're humble. You're successful. You're doing very, very well.
Bless you.
Um, where else can people sort of catch up with you? Is it just on the Instagram mainly, where you want people just sort of plug everything really?
Yeah.
Plug your Instagram, plug
Yeah.
everything you're doing.
So my website, www.officialmohs.com, that is the main link for getting through to us on email, I try to actually get back to specific emails myself. Otherwise, then you just get us at inquiries@officialmoss.com. That's for mentoring opportunities. That's for internship. That is across the spectrum. That's including the investment fund, which we're going to do a new round in summer. My Instagram is the portal for me to personally deal with X, Y, and Z. You know, for these people, this gap that we're bridging, the Instagram is, you just message me and you say, hey Moss, I heard you on this, or I met you at this event, and that will be automatically forwarded over to me via my media team. They'll pop up, message me and say, Moss, so you met someone, so they just dropped you a message, this is their Instagram handle, or this is their Twitter handle. And then I endeavor to reply back to everyone. So that's at officialmoss.com. And that's exactly the same for my Twitter. That is basically my go-to. There's going to be the new number, like I said earlier, the new number that will go up, that will also go up on the website. There's a direct personal number that will also go up on the Instagram, so people can call, text, and just be able to throw off either their ideas or their questions or their business plans, anything of the spectrum, other than send nudes.
Yeah, don't do that. Definitely don't do that. Yeah. But that's great. So I'll leave all your links down below in the description of the podcast as well. So anyone listening now can just scroll down and just go access that straight from there. I fully recommend anybody listening to at least look Moss up. He's doing a lot of great things and he's trying to help so many great people. So yeah, if there's anything else you'd like to add, please say it now or forever hold it.
No, I mean, you're doing incredibly well. I was listening back to some of your podcasts when I was just coming back from an event yesterday, and no, you're doing incredibly well. So keep up at it. If you're in and around, if you're about, you know, just drop me a message, and we'll definitely go out for a drink more. So, all right.
100%. All right. Thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it. This is just the beginning with my podcast and all my projects. So it's great to have someone like you on here. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. You take care.
All right. Perfect. See you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.